Hello and welcome to our second ever workshop. Today is the first day that we've split into two groups. So I hope you guys are all excited to hear Greg speak about introduction to web exploitation. Web exploitation used to be one of my favorite categories. It still probably is. It's just really comforting to get into. You're used to poking around on websites, so it's interesting to figure out how to hack them. Today, I just have one little housekeeping announcement. I wanted to remind everyone that we are recruiting junior execs at the moment. So if you're at all interested in becoming part of the club, or you're interested in even seeing what we're about behind the scenes, we do build and make all the workshops ourselves. We run a CTF, we run a speakers series, and a large group of people has to put in the work to make that happen. So if you're interested in becoming one of these people, please join us on September the 29th. That's a Wednesday in the Discord channel, where our Vice President, Josh, will be going over what it means to be a junior exec, what's involved in it, and answer any of your questions. If you are still interested in being a junior exec, but you can't make that meeting, it's at 6 p.m., by the way. If you can't make that meeting, please reach out to either me or Josh on Discord, or you can email our club at infosec.ucalgary@gmail.com, and we will make accommodations for you. With that, I'm going to bring up Greg.
Thanks, Alex. So yeah, welcome everybody out. Let's get into it. So today, as mentioned, we're going to be going over beginner web exploitation. So some of the tools that we're going to use today is just a good old-fashioned web browser. Most of the things I'll be demoing, I'll be using Chromium. Curl is a command line tool that is an optional tool to use in here, and also dirb. If you don't, for some reason, have Kali Linux installed already, that's okay. You can still follow along. Most of it you'll still be able to do. But if you need help getting that set up, just reach out to one of the execs in the Discord, and I think we have weekly office hours, so we can help you get that set up. But it's not totally necessary for tonight's workshop. Please also fill out the attendance. We've just posted the link into the chat. This is important for our club. We track it. It's used for our voting every year. So in order to have full voting rights within the club, you need to attend half of our workshops. The other half of that is also that you can become a premium member. So yeah, please fill out the attendance. And for premium membership, how that works is you can send us an e-transfer to infosec.ucalgary@gmail.com. It's an e-transfer of $10, so $5 for each semester. Some of the benefits that you get from that are access to the voting rights, like for the voting in our club elections every year, help choose the executives that run the club and do all the things. You also get access to the speaker series. So our first one is coming up on October 18th. That is going to be Chris Shepard, and he'll be giving a presentation on open source intelligence. Some of the other benefits for becoming a premium member is you get access to a premium channel in the Discord, early sign up for the CTF, and other potential possible perks that'll be coming through the year. These club fees, they help us run the club. They keep our website up, help us host the challenges, just help us do all of the things that we do. So any little bit you guys can help if you want to become a premium member is really appreciated. So yes, as mentioned, intro to web exploitation. We're going to be looking for flags in our workshop. So as if you guys were here last week, we touched on this, but a flag is a string of text that is the solution to some sort of puzzle that we're solving. So in our challenges, there's going to be flags hidden throughout, and we're trying to find them. So the format for these flags is the UC-sec tag, followed by a curly brace, and then a string of text in leet speak, followed by closing curly brace. So we're going to be looking for tricks and exploits to help us find these flags, which get us points when we submit them to ORCID. Remember that you do not submit them into the Orchid channel, but you need to send Orchid a DM with the flag. And then Orchid will respond and tell you if you got it correct or not. And if you got it correct, you will be given points. So yeah, everybody loves to have internet points, and you can be on our leaderboard. So what are we going to be covering tonight? We're going to be going over some basic web architecture, HTML, CSS, touch very briefly on HTTP requests and responses. We'll talk about hidden directories, talk a little about cookies and user agents. So let's get into it. Part 1, web architecture. So how does the internet work? This here is an infographic specifically about how Node.js application works, but essentially how it works is your browser will send a request to the web server to get the website. The server is going to respond with either instructions or code that your browser can understand, and it will render it so that you can read it and interact with it. The web server will also communicate back and forth with any of the backend servers, so the databases, any sort of business layer applications, logic, and get you the content of the website. The web has a basic structure, kind of like this. It kind of looks like the file system on your computer. So you can see here kind of the line out of a website. Each individual HTML file is its own page, and your browser is going to display that so you can read it. The front end of websites are almost entirely made up of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or some sort of derivative. They get sent to your computer, and your browser shows it to you in words that a human can understand. So it's the main part here is the HTML, which stands for hypertext markup language. This is kind of like the scaffolding, the bones of the website. So this lays out the structure and the actual content. And then we have the CSS, which stands for cascading style sheets. This makes the website look nice. It adds kind of the styles and the structure to it, makes it look good. JavaScript is what allows the websites to be interactive. It kind of handles the logic of the website and makes it do all the fun things that we enjoy in modern websites. This is just some example of how the code is usually included in the HTML file to have it run. So yeah, as you can see here, with CSS or without CSS, the look of the web page can be quite different. This is all just to get a very simple, basic web page. But you can see it's added some styling, added some background colors, it's added extra pictures, changed the size of the picture, the layout of the text, whatnot. So where can we look for flags? So quite often flags might be hidden somewhere in the HTML or CSS files. So if you open up your web browser, we can inspect the element or use the command line tool curl. We can find the comments hidden in the comments, in the images. They might be hidden in the JavaScript. They might be hidden in the CSS file. This here is what a link to the CSS file looks like. So if you poke around in the website, you might see this somewhere where it'll have a link to the CSS page. That's always a good place to look. So how do we do it? So let's open up here a browser if you guys have Chrome. Just get mine up here just a second. So here we just have the Google homepage. You can come over here and right click and inspect element, and it's going to open up this tab here. And so you can see we have access to the HTML. Lots of stuff going on here. So oh, I think I did that on the wrong tab. Please forgive me. So try that again. Right click, inspect, and we can see all of our HTML in here. We can also pipe this information into curl using that command. So it'd be curl dash capital L, and then the URL of what you're looking for. The nice thing about curl is that you can pipe that into different programs. So let's do a quick demo of that. We'll do it with our website. So if we come in here, curl, capital L, and then our club website. And if we want, we can pipe it into grep if you remember from last week. So grep will help us find things. So if we want, we can take a look and see all of the links that are on our webpage. What is curl? So curl is a command line tool. It does a lot of cool stuff. It mostly helps you transfer information to and from web servers. It's usually included in any sort of Linux distribution. So you can just come to the command line and type this curl command in, and it will get information. So it's pretty powerful program. It does a lot of different things. One of the things we can do is make requests. We're going to touch on it a little bit too once we get to the HTTP request section. Yeah, you can also come in here and read the manual. There's lots going on in here. So good program to take time to know. But it does a lot of good stuff. What is a request? So when you want to get information from the website or send information to the website, that is a request. So it will, you send a request to, say, Google or YouTube and ask it, hey, I want YouTube, and it'll send it back to you. The other thing that requests do is you can post information. Again, we're going to touch on this in a second, but you can send information through requests, and curl is a command line, like a terminal program that will let you do all this sort of stuff. It can be a little bit complex and daunting, but go ahead and play around with it. So that's kind of the front end of the website. Back end of the website handles all of like the data, logic. Usually we don't have any access to this as clients. For the users, handle stuff like authentication, talking to databases. It's usually written in other languages like Node.js, for example. Could be written in Java, could be written in Python, lots of different languages. The front end is usually made up, like I said, with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The back end can be lots of different things. So we've come to our first challenge for the night. So we'll throw the link into the chat. You guys can go ahead and open up this webpage. There are 3 flags hidden in here using the information that we have talked about. We'll give you guys about 15 minutes or so, and poke around and see if you can find some of the flags, and then DM them over to Orchid.
I just wanted to pop in and remind everyone that as of last year, since we decided to hold 2 workshops simultaneously, Orchid now has a level to ensure that beginners and advanced are on the same playing field in terms of points in our leaderboard. So you're going to have to set your level of workshops that you're choosing to attend. You can still submit flags from both, you're just getting points from only one. So if you type in O semicolon exclamation mark set level and then space beginner, you will then be able to get points from the beginner workshops. This just ensures that the advanced people aren't going in, stealing all of the points from the beginners and all of the points from advanced and completely demolishing people who might not have that level of knowledge quite yet. So you are able to submit flags from both, you just get points from one. Some workshops are common, like our last workshop had common flags. And in the winter, we will also have common flags again. So that's just a heads up if you're confirmed why she's yelling at you about needing to set your level. I will post the commands that you need to run in order to set her to beginner in the chat. I'm just hopping back in one more time to let you guys know. If you get a flag, let us know in the chat. Don't post the flag, but it totally helps us understand where you guys are at and just pace the workshop as best as possible if you let us know when you find certain flags. It's also just fun for us to celebrate your wins. So let us know. Thanks, Nicholas.
Yeah, if you guys have already found all the flags, we can move on, but wanted to give you enough time.
Awesome.
To the web page, when you use curl to find it,
Just a
you
heads
would
up,
basically.
Greg, that you were talking off stream. Sorry.
Thank you for helping me out there. So, great question. The way you could use curl to find the flag that's on the CSS page is just extending the URL that you're calling curl on. So instead of just calling curl on the base website, you would also extend it to the URL for CSS, and then it would find the flag for you there as well. I think we'll move ahead. I think we've had quite a few solves. Do you guys need more time, or are you ready to go through the solutions? A bit of a delay from when I talk to when I get responses in the chat. Okay, well, let's move on. So I'm going to pull up my Kali, and we'll show you the first part here, how to how to run the curl. Again, curl can be really handy and can help us find things really nicely with the grep command. So we'll just type in here, curl, L, and then our web address, 733. Oh, what am I doing here? I'm forgetting all sorts of fun things. My number pad isn't working. There we go. That's why I'm having issues. So let's actually type this in properly. And then we can pipe these results into grep, and we're going to take a look for our flag format. So if we pipe that in, we get the solution. UCSec, the moon is made of cheese. But it's not giving us all the flags on this web page. So let's switch over to our browser and we can poke around a little bit and see what we can find. Yes, it is. Is it possible to see the CSS page without using curl? Yeah, we're going to go over that. We'll use the browser. You can do it through curl. The browser is also a nice and easy way to do that. So we have our web page here. So we'll open up our inspection. So we have that. We can see as soon as you open it, we see the first flag hidden right here. Now we can dig through here. You might have seen something running around on the bottom of the page. An easy way to do it is just to search the web page. So same thing. I type in the flag format and just hit enter. And there we go. There's our second flag. You could have also captured this just by taking like a screenshot or something. I think actually when I did this workshop last year, that's how I did it. But you can cycle through and see all of the flags that are hidden on the main page. Now to get the flag that is hidden in our CSS, which we said we want to look, the CSS link is going to be up here in our head. So we can see that there is a link for our style sheet, CSS, and this is the extension. So if we come up here and add that on, we can see this page. So CSS files, styles, CSS. And we hit that, and now we have access to the actual CSS of this particular web page. So we can scroll through and look, or you can just search it again. But our flag down here, CSS makes sites look pretty. So don't forget to submit all of those to Orchid and get your points. All right. Let's move on to the next section. So we're going to cover really quickly just some real basics about HTTP requests and response codes. These things can come up in CTFs or different challenges. We're just going to run over them briefly because none of our challenges will use them tonight, but it is a good thing to know just some good basic information about how the web works. So as we kind of touched on earlier, we have different types of requests. So these are some of the common and less common ones. So when you request the information from the web page, you're making a GET request. If you're submitting information to the web page, you're making a POST request. You can get a header request. It just shows kind of the header, some basic information about the page. And then we have some less common ones that we don't use or see quite as often, such as putting, which is kind of creating new information or replacing files, patch, which is an update, deleting, obviously getting rid of it. Yeah. When you make a request, you will usually get you'll get a response code back from the web server. So it'll send the response plus the code. It'll kind of specify, does this information exist? Are you allowed to access it? It can redirect you to the proper locations. They're split up into categories. So the 200s indicate success. 300s will indicate some sort of redirection usually. If you see a 400 code, the dreaded 404, it means that you've made some sort of mistake. So you've made some sort of a request to the server, the error is on your side, and so it returns the error. And then the 500s is if there's something wrong on the server side. So if you submitted a seemingly acceptable request and you're allowed to do it, and there's some sort of error, it'll return a 500s code. So these are some useful ones, some commons. So the 200 response code is that it's okay. 301 will be a response code that your content has been moved. It'll usually redirect you there. If you have a web page up and you reload it and nothing has changed, it'll just give you a 304 response that nothing's been modified. For a code like 403 just means you're not authorized to see it. I think everybody's seen the 404, that file not found. This one's fun. Response code 418, our very own Josh submitted this into the slides. This is a real response code, and I'm a teapot, and he has actually ran into it in a CTF before. Again, 500 internal server error, and service unavailable 503. You can actually see these if you go into your inspect element. You can actually see it in one of the tabs, and when you reload the page, you can see all the requests that were sent and the codes that were returned. This is an example of what it looks like if you run it through your terminal. So like we mentioned before, you can use the program curl to get information from web structures, web servers. This is an example if you run the command, the kind of output that you'll get. So the basic structure is that you'll get like kind of the status line. So you can see here it shows that we have a 200 response. So the response was good. We have all these headers. There's all sorts of different information that we're not going to get into tonight, but just know that there's lots of information that you can glean from this. And then it goes into the body of the response, and that usually be like the actual HTML or the other information that the website is going to give you. So let's get back into some more stuff. That's for our workshop tonight. Hidden directories. So what is a hidden directory? So sometimes there are files or web pages that aren't directly linked that are hidden from you. So they're only really accessible if you know the directory path. And we have an example here of this really long path to get to a flag at the end. So yeah, if you don't know them, it can be really hard to find. Developers will do this sometimes. They'll put information where they don't want people to access it. One of such example would be something like robots.txt. This is a page that is used to tell things like web crawlers what they can and can't request. Sometimes flags are hidden in disallowed directories. So you can always take a website, add /robots.txt to the end and take a look and see if they have one. And we have an example here that we pulled actually from the U Calgary website. All these different directories that are not allowed. Occasionally, sites will allow you to index their directories, and you can actually just see the pathways. Quite often, it is not allowed. So what are we going to do? How can we find any hidden directories that might exist? We're going to use a program called dirb. Dirb stands for Directory Buster. So it's a command line scanner. Essentially, what it does is it runs a whole list of words against the web page and just sees if it gets responses, sees if it can find paths that exist. So we use a word list. It's included with dirb when you install it. It's a text file, contains just a bunch of directory names that are commonly used, and it just runs through them to see what works. We can actually find them in this path. So if you go into your terminal and change directory in here, you can actually see the words lists. If you're playing in a CTF, normally you're going to use the common.txt word list or the big.txt word list. For this workshop, I would recommend using small. Just for context, the big.txt word list has like 20,000 words in it that it runs through, and the small has like 960. So a very substantial difference. The small will work for tonight's workshop, just so you're not running this for a long time in the background. So how do we use dirb? So from the command line, we will call the dirb command, then we pass it the URL, and then we want to pass it the path to our word list and any options that we might have. So for example, dirb, the website we're looking for is example.com. We're going to be using the big word list, and we're going to run it on this. If you want more information, you can look at the manual by typing man dirb. And we've come to the second part of our challenge for tonight. So this is actually on the same website that we were just using, so the same URL. Go ahead and take a look. There's 2 more flags that are hidden on this website, and let's see if you guys can find them. We'll give you again another 10-15 minutes. Got a fatal error opening the word list. Huh. What were you trying to use to open the word list? Oh, there we go. So that might help fix the problem. So yeah, we'll give you guys 10-15 minutes to see if we can solve that. There's 2 flags still hidden on this website that we can find, and let us know in the chat if you guys need help.
Just a heads up, Greg, you were also speaking while backstage again.
Yeah, I don't know if hopefully the audio still came through, but yes, it will tell you no results for this. But if you look through the information that it returns, you should be able to get something useful to give a try and see if you can find the flag. Okay, we'll give just another couple minutes and then we'll go over the solution together. All right. I think we've had a bit of time. Let's see if we can go over this together. So I'm going to switch back to my Kali. I was told to make my font bigger. I apologize if it was too hard to read earlier. Hopefully this is better. So I'm going to start running dirb now to start looking for the first flag because it takes a little bit, and get it running, and then we'll go look at the other flag and come back and see what our results are. So type in dirb, our website. And then we need to pass it the path to our words list. Oopsies. And let it go. So you can see it's running through all these different words, and it's going to keep going until it finds one that actually works. And then once it finds that, it's going to keep running through the rest to see if there's any more, and it's going to slowly just check all these words against our website and see if it gets any hits. So we're going to let that run in the background. We'll come back to our browser. So like we said, always check robots.txt and see what we have. So on our website, Area 51. So we're not allowing people to go find the Area 51 for bots. So let's go take a look and see if there's anything in that directory. And here we are. So we have a little alien hiding in here with another flag. So don't forget to submit that to ORCID and get your points. So let's go back and check if our dirb is finished running yet. So it's still going. So yeah, it can take a little while for it to run through the entire list. You can see it's starting to build a URL for us to go and check out. So we'll give it a second to finish running. So yeah, if we had run the big.txt on this, we might be here for a little while. So let's just keep sending all these queries to the website to see if if anything works. So if you're in a CTF and you're having one of these challenges, you can just kind of let it run in the background while you go and do other things. Get a snack, solve other problems. And yeah, VMs are slow. It is painful sometimes. It's actually why I'm using my browser on my local machine instead of the VM, because it is painfully slow inside the VM. How long did it take you guys to find the solution? Hopefully everybody's had a chance by this point. All right, so here we go, we're finished. So it's going to tell us found 0. But what we can do is we can come and look up here the last place that it found success, and we can try this and see if we can find it. So I'll open up my browser in here. And let's give this a try and see what we can find. All right, so here we have some directories. We can go up to the parent, but flag.txt, that looks pretty interesting. So let's click on that and see what we have, and we have found another flag. So yeah, the flag is, this is sort of like DDoS. In essence, we just are querying the web page over and over and over again until we find directories and paths that work. So it's, kind of like that. Right. So on to part 4, cookies. So what are cookies? No, not this kind. Cookies are pieces of information, data sent from the website that can be stored on our computer. It can store information about authentication data, tracking IDs. You can use it for advertising, stuff like that. Save form data. So if you ever every time you go back to like YouTube or whatever, and it just knows who you are, this is usually from a cookie. So one thing to be aware of is they are stored locally and therefore can be edited by you, which allows us for some possible exploitation. So how can we find our cookies? How do we access them? So we can come in here again, back in our inspection tool. If you come and click on the application tab, and you can see down here on the left where you have cookies, and you can click on them and see the information that it's storing about you. And you can click on them and just preview what it's got and see what it's tracking. I don't have the application tag, which to do. That's a great question. I'll switch over to my browser. Okay, sounds like maybe we found it. So yeah, come in here, come into inspect. It should be here. What am I looking for? Cookies, and we can see which cookies it has. So this is the information that it is tracking on us here. Yeah. So yeah, one thing to keep in mind as we are progressing through our education and careers, improper cookie configuration can lead to severe vulnerabilities in a website. The information can be changed locally, and anything that contains like user information should be treated very, very carefully. And we have another challenge tonight. So we'll post the link to this one in the chat. It's the same URL. We just change our ending to 8.1 instead of 8.0. There is one flag on this page. We'll give you guys about 10 minutes to see if you can figure it out using the cookies. Let us know if you're finding the flag here or if you're having a hard time. And just let us know in the chat once you found it. All right, it looks like we're getting a few solves on that one. People are getting it. So let's go over it together. So we have our web page here, super secure login page. So let's see if we can get in. So just enter a username, Magpie, password, I don't know, let me in, and no, don't save. You are logged in as Magpie. I am not an admin. Okay. Well, let's see if we can fix that. So let's open up our inspect. Come over here to where our cookies are. Now, if we take a look, we can see the information that we've submitted. So our username, Magpie, password, let me in. So we can change any of these. We'll just, maybe it's a lot of Magpies. But here we can see admin. Are we an admin? Well, it says false. Let's see if we can fix that. So if we put true and then reload the web page, let's see if we get the flag. And there we go. I am an admin now, and we get our flag. So lots of fun. And you can see it's reset to false, but we've already got our flag. So all is well. So just again, using cookies as variables to check for user privileges is a really, really bad idea. They can be edited by the users. Just don't do it. If you're going to use cookies, just make sure that you're using them properly so that you can keep your websites secure. Part 5, so the last part of our workshop tonight is about user agents. So what is a user agent? It's a piece of information that the server receives to helps identify you. So it can identify your operating system, who the vendor is, which browser version you're using, and this is kind of the format that they look like. So they all start with this Mozilla 5.0, and then it says information about what you're using. So this one was done, I believe, on Chrome. I don't know why it also says Safari, but it was done on a Windows machine. So these types of things, occasionally there might be certain features that are only compatible with certain browsers. So this helps it know what you're using so it can give you the proper experience. And you can just type this into Google. So if you go to Google and type in what is my user agent, it'll tell you what you are using. Again, this is the format of them. So yeah, it has system information, the platform, some details about which platform you're on, and any extension. So there's a bunch of information in there. This kind of relates back to our robots.txt challenge. So the Google web crawler has a user agent. So that's how they're able to block it from accessing certain things. And we have here the example of the user agent for the Google bot. You can see how it's like not allowed. You can block it. So what can we do with this? We can actually change it. Normally it just is automatic and it will auto detect what you're using and submit that to the website, but we can actually go in and change what it says. So if you are in your inspect developer tool, you come over here, click on the 3 dots, go down to more tools, come over here to network conditions, and it's normally, again, checked automatically, but we can uncheck that and enter in custom stuff or just change what we are doing. So if we come here to our browser, So we can click on these three dots here, more tools, the conditions. It'll open this up, and we scroll down, and here we have our user agent section. So we can untick this, and we can make it too soon. We can change it to various things, or we can find custom ones. So we can tell, I'm actually on Android mobile, or I'm using Chrome on an iPhone. We can change it to all sorts of things. This can be useful if you're testing your web pages while you're developing them. But in the context of our workshop tonight in CTS, we can change it to custom things. So we have one more challenge for everyone tonight. Using this user agent information. So we have a new web page. Same URL, just 82 at the end instead of 81. We'll give everybody some time to mess around and see if they can figure out how to get the flag on this web page. This one might require a little bit of Googling to see if you can get some information. Maybe we'll give you a bit of a hint in a few minutes if we're having trouble. Again, you can look on Google to find out what yours is. There's resources out there to help you find specific user agents. Let us know again in the chat if you are getting the flag or if you need a little bit of help. And yeah, good luck. We've got at least one person who solved it, so that's good. Well done. So this might be a helpful link to go look around in. Help you solve and find the flag. Looks like we're getting quite a few solves here. So we'll give you guys another minute or so, and then we'll go over the solution together. All right, let's take a look at this together. All right, so let's open up our website here. So we have our lovely website. Click here. Okay. So it says I am using Chrome, and it only likes Netscape 7.2. So if we go to that website that I had posted in the chat, we can take a look around and see what we can find. So this website here has a lot of useful information for this sort of thing. We can come down here and look, and we can filter by all sorts of types of things. We can look by hardware, phones, mobile, whatever. You can look based off the operating systems. But we care about software tonight. So we're going to go in here and browse all software. And we have an ad. So we have a lot of crawlers in here, if you didn't tell when you were looking through here. So lots and lots of crawlers. These are all the things that you can kind of filter out with your robots page. We care about Netscape, which is a really old browser. So let's see if we can find Netscape. So we found Netscape Navigator. Click through that. We want version 7.2. So let's see if we can get that. So we'll just grab this first one here. If you scroll down, I think there are a few 7.2s just for different systems, but we're going to grab this first one. So, you know, if you're ever doing like a CTF and the first one doesn't work, just scroll down and see if you can find anything else. So we'll copy that. We need to open up our inspect. I have mine open here already. So let's, again, we'll run through that real quick. 3 dots, more tools, network conditions. And we want to uncheck the default so that we can put in a custom. We'll paste what we've got off this other page in here, and then reload the web page and see what happens. So yes, we are currently using Netscape 7.2, and we have our flag. So very good. And that's actually it for tonight. Thank you everybody for coming out. We're super grateful that you spent the last hour and a half with us going through this workshop. And we just want to, if you enjoyed this, I hope you did. I actually really like the web exploitation as well. It's one of my favorites. If you're looking for more, Pico CTF is a great place to go and look. There are a few challenges here up on the page. Now, Pico CTF unfortunately got taken down in the last year, so it's no longer up. But if you Google it, you can find solutions to these problems, just see kind of how they worked, how they ran. Pico CTF 2019 is still up. These are a couple challenges from Pico CTF 2019. And Pico Gym is actually a new thing that they have started doing, where they actually have a whole section for you to practice in, and you can choose what sections you want to work in. So you can go for just web exploitation or some of the other topics that we're going to cover later in the year in our workshops. You can just go and create an account and mess around. It's a lot of fun, especially when you solve like a problem that's a little bit tricky. These ones here will use some of the same stuff that we have used tonight. So I hope that you all go give it a try. And just one more reminder that we're having a recruitment information session on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on our Discord for junior execs. We'd love for you to come and see if you are interested in doing that. Even if you're first year, come on out. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I'm only a second year in my program. I joined last year as a junior exec, and I feel like it helped me learn a lot of things and forced me to do things maybe that I wouldn't have done otherwise. That has been beneficial, and it's a lot of fun. So come on out.
Yeah, I came on here to do the final call for junior execs, but Greg did it for me. But I do want to emphasize, if you're a first year or if you're not used to information security, you don't have any knowledge in it, don't let that deter you from coming to our information session. Even starting out the club, the founders, I'm one of the founders, didn't know anything about information security, and you don't learn unless you try to. So being a part of the club is like a great way to do that, and it will give you lots of exposure to different technologies. It'll give you a way to work on personal projects. It's really good for your resume. That being said, we will make you do work. So don't join and expect to do nothing and get like a nice little title on your resume. I did want to come
teach
out.
a workshop like me.
I did want to come out and remind everyone to fill out our attendance. It helps us figure out first who our voting members are for the AGM at the end of the year. You have to participate in at least half of the workshops to be one of those. And also just lets us know who's coming to our workshops, what our distribution is between beginner and advanced. It's just nice for us to see. that people are actually attending and we actually provide value. That is everything I had to say. Next week, come join us out, same time, Mondays at 6 p.m. Beginner series will always be on YouTube and Twitch. You can come join Justin as he does an intro to forensics, which if you've never, it's not fingerprinting and DNA samples, it's static files on computers and where you can hide data within that. So please come out and join that. We also have Braden doing disks, file systems, and shares in the advanced workshops within Discord. So yeah. And if any of you don't have Kali set up currently on your machines, today you probably could have skirted that a little bit just because it was mostly browser related and all machines have browsers. But next week it's going to be much harder to do that. So I really recommend you come set up a Kali machine. We have office hours on Friday 2 to 3 if you need any help with that. If you're at all nervous about setting something up on your machine, you can totally pop in, share your screen, and we'll walk you through the steps so you don't have to be afraid. To sign up for be a junior exec, you don't have to actually do anything right now. We will have a form that we distribute on our meeting September 29th, Wednesday at 6 p.m. in our Discord. I will make a chat that will say junior execs. It'll be a voice chat, and you can join for that. If you can't make it to that, please email us at infosec.ucalgary@gmail.com, and we will make exceptions and move things around. Awesome. That's all we have for tonight. So thank you so much for coming out, and please join us in the Discord to interact and hang out if you ever want to.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Have a good night.